From the co-founders of Halo and SOCOM US Navy SEALs, plus a small team of about 30 or more developers, comes Disintegration. A futuristic look at a dystopian Earth where death, famine and global war dictate the future of mankind. Welcome, I'm UK, and today I want to share with you my thoughts on my recent Disintegration open beta experience. As this was a beta, I will focus on the storyline and explaining the core gameplay mechanics, whilst highlighting any potential triumphs or pitfalls that I have foreseen. This will not in any way serve as a final recommendation or condemnation, and is merely intended for those interested in learning more about disintegration. So the principle of disintegration is integration. That's a medical procedure which surgically removes and encases a human brain into a robotic armature in order to protect life and avoid suffering. Unfortunately, some of the integrated saw this as the future for humankind and stratified, calling themselves the Rayonne. Their ambition to hunt down all remaining humans and integrate them too, killing anyone who dare stand in their way. Some of the integrated rebelled against the Rayonne, and led by your character called Roma, the fight against integration ensues, with the hope that one day you too might be able to reverse your integration and become human once again. As an expert grav cycle pilot, you will lead from above, giving direct orders to your small yet effective ground force. Your grav cycle is also equipped with a combination of weapon loadouts, each specialising in certain areas which will suit particular styles of gameplay. Combined, you will become a lethal force.
I'm sorry. Were you two having a moment? I can leave y'all be.
What? The grav cycle? I'm a pilot. It's called a pre-flight inspection.
No judgments here, huh?
None of the campaign was available in the beta, so I only got to experience multiplayer. And whilst there was a tutorial, I didn't feel that it explained how things worked in multiplayer particularly well. This was clearly evident, as the vast majority of opponents I faced just tried to fight me one-on-one, which pretty much allowed me to score double and triple kills with relative ease. The open beta really didn't explain what the ground units were capable of or how to really utilise them during battle. And this is a shame, because I think it is this aspect of the game which really does stand out to me, and I think it's the USP. So whilst I can't elaborate on the campaign, which is a shame because I really was looking forward to it, I can discuss the multiplayer experience that I had and offer some tips and tricks that I picked up in my 12-game unbeaten run. Just to clarify, I'm not boasting about my own abilities here, I'm highlighting the misunderstanding that I believe many of my opponents appeared to suffer from. On average, multiplayer matches lasted less than 10 minutes per round, with some of the games offering multiple rounds. The beta offered 2 maps and 2 game modes, which were basically capture the flag and domination. Both of the maps were pretty small, tight, urban-esque areas with totally non-destructible surroundings. If you get killed, you'll respawn at a single start point, which incidentally are protected by lethal mounted guns, so I suggest you don't go there. At the start of each round and each time you spawn, you will be able to pick your class. Each class has different skills, weapons and abilities. During the beta there were only 7 classes available, but more are confirmed for the full release. Class selection not only affects your grav cycle and weapons, but also how many ground force units you get and what weaponry they have. The correct positioning and utilisation of your ground units should mean the difference between winning or losing a battle. I say should be because I want to reiterate that during the beta it was clearly evident that the vast majority of players did not understand the importance of the ground units or how to utilise them correctly. Whenever I encountered an opponent who had figured this out, the challenge absolutely quadrupled as a result. Strategic positioning of your ground units is very effective, especially when combined with your own ship's abilities. The Neon Dreams class, which by the way is perfect for beginners, has a secondary weapon, an ion disruptor, which temporarily increases the damage your opponent takes. This is the perfect opening volley if you're accurate. If you place your ground unit sensibly, it can also lure your opponent straight into an ambush. Despite the Neon Dream class having the lowest durability, its increased speed and handling combined with its Mk-64 rapid-fire machine guns and ground unit seeker rockets make it an extremely effective unit, especially if you just want to get stuck in. If you prefer to hang back and approach things in a more tactical way, then I highly recommend the Lost Ronin class, who, in complete contrast, pose a long-range threat with their NG6 marksman cannon with burst fire and zoom. Plus, their secondary weapon is a horrendously destructive Seeking Yumi rocket, and mortar strikes from the ground units ensure that other teams' ground units are under constant bombardment. This class is particularly effective against both ground units and grav cycle opponents. Killing an opponent grav cycle automatically destroys all of their ground units at the same time, so I guess they are the primary target, but it is actually the ground units who win the round. So at certain times and in certain situations, it is the ground units who will be more important to attack. Ground units are actually fundamental to everything in this game. Without them, you cannot capture a flag or carry a bomb to the drop-off zone, so keeping them alive is absolutely critical to success. Ground units can easily be resurrected simply by flying near to their dead bodies and collecting their brain can. Once collected, the unit will be replenished after a short spawning time.
You are in the lead. Zone C secure.
The other units available during the beta include Tech Noir, a long-range support crew with an NG6 marksman cannon and a repair drone, one of only 2 units which offers such ability in multiplayer. The ground units provide seeker rockets and deployable slow field generators, and this unit works especially well in a defensive or ambush position. In almost complete contrast, the Sideshow offers sticky bombs, difficult to aim but deadly effective when accurate. I found this to be most effective when defending against the bomb, as it is possible to set traps with this unit and detonate them whilst away from danger. The Sideshow also have an extra ground unit and come with a dazzling display of firepower on the ground. A Rhino armature which delivers a blast wave, a long-range sniper and 2 slow fields.
Core B grabbed.
The Warheads, another class hell-bent on explosives, their bouncing bombs are short-range and difficult to predict, regardless of which team you're on, but they can hit places where other units simply cannot. Their second weapon is a sticky nuke. It's a one-shot, one-chance type thing. Most of the time you'll miss, but get it right and it's like an instant kill. All this power comes at the expense of speed and ground units, as you have just a single Rhino and 1 slow field in their arsenal. This is very much a sit tight and fight type of class. The rather appealing medieval-themed Kingsguard offer a support role only, really. The javelin launcher can fire quick rounds which aim to slow your opponent rather than damage them. Once slowed, however, you can charge it up and fire a single decisive damaging shot, although it's not really that damaging. Their second ability is the nano emitter, a healing drone that can be placed on the floor, which we actually get to see in the first tutorial. The 3 ground units are more destructive with mines and long-range mortar strikes, but to be honest, I found this the most difficult of all the classes to use, as it focuses so heavily on tactical gameplay, far more than any other class does. The Business have a fully automatic HV rifle, which is a moderate but accurate weapon and is backed up with a Sword 2 shotgun, which despite many attempts I found to be completely useless. Ground units include seeker rockets and a sniper, but to be honest, with this class I just died far too quickly to utilise any of it. At the core of this game is tactical teamwork, and I saw very little of that during the beta. I can see how effective and how exciting a full drawn-out battle could be with two teams of experienced players, but as yet I have yet to experience that. I did see some small snippets of tactical play and teamwork, but nothing that I would really regard as utilising the potential that Disintegration truly offers. Not being able to mute noisy and annoying idiots is definitely a factor in this. After just 3 games, I simply turned my voice comms off. No clear guidance of how multiplayer really worked or the tactical elements that are available to you also contributed to this situation. And also, there is the fact that this is a new game and people just like to get stuck in. On the odd occasion when I did come up against a more knowledgeable opponent, it certainly was a more tactical and engaging experience, and I have to say that Disintegration really does have something. A little glimmer of Halo with a twinge of SOCOM's tactical elements, and although I wasn't exactly blown over, I was enjoying the gameplay, and more importantly, I was engaged and hoping to play more. What we saw in the beta was just a snippet of the final game, just a mere taster. And whilst I think the maps on offer were perhaps a little bit too small, they did offer up a very similar feel to that of Halo, with multiple attack points, routes, and areas for ambush. It really does remind me of the Xbox Halo days of old. The grav cycle movement is actually pretty slow, all things considered, and waiting around for your ground units is another consideration, so perhaps the map size is not the real issue. I'm tempted to say that I wish I could leave my ground units in a position completely and go to the other side of the map if I so wish. I also would like to see them have much greater speed, but perhaps with a slow acceleration and to the detriment of actual turning speed. This on bigger maps could actually work and could open up a whole new layer of tactical engagement. But as it is at the moment, we only have the boost option, which is great for dodging and charges up relatively quickly, but overall it's still quite a slow experience. Furthermore, I would really like to see destructible map surroundings. I think that would be tremendously more engaging and would have added to the tactical and immersion element of the game. Now, I'm not entirely sure if the game is going to offer cross-platform connectivity. I kind of hope that it does. I did try the controller, but personally I found the controller to be absolutely horrendous to use, but then I don't use controllers very often these days. But many others do praise it for its ease of use with which you can command your units. Sadly, I don't expect to see any of my suggestions materialise in the final release. As such, I am on the fence with Disintegration. I will admit that I am leaning slightly towards liking it more than not, but until I see the campaign and get to experience more maps and gameplay modes, it kind of failed to win me over completely. In short, this strongly reminds me of Halo multiplayer, and that's a good thing because Halo was absolutely incredible. The new tactical layer certainly adds a new and interesting dimension to proceedings, and I hope that reviews like this one will enable more players to fully engage in the game with a greater understanding of that tactical element the next time I play. And I guarantee you there will be a next time I play, because this Disintegration beta has certainly whet my appetite for more. I want to see the campaign, and I want to know, will that also be like the Halo campaign? Because if it is, then I'm probably going to want to play that too. Obviously, things like reload times, weapon damage and everything in between will require ongoing observation and tweaking, but that's perfectly acceptable and understandable at this stage. The only concern that I really have is the pace of the game. Is it going to be fast enough? And I have to say that as I personally prefer tactical gameplay over anything else, will it be fast enough for the youth who just like high intensity? I'm not so sure. Disintegration certainly has something. I think it could potentially be a much bigger and much more exciting title than current viewing numbers might suggest. I would recommend that you wishlist this game and keep an eye open for the next open testing phase, if they have one, that is. I think Disintegration might actually deliver quite an exciting product. I am definitely engaged. I am definitely looking forward to having another try at this game. And yes, it has piqued my interest, that is for sure. So thank you for listening, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please hit that like button, consider subscribing. You know how this works, this is YouTube. Everybody knows what to do. Take care, till next time, goodbye.